Well, Rock wanted to know from the fans, he comes in the ring that night, where he would set as a table. And he was asking the question of, set at a bar, or should I sit over here, or should I sit on, top of a bit? He's just being funny. And I've enjoyed his character coming back. I have. I've always been a Rock fan. And of course, a lot of people thought that he's coming back to take Roman's seat at the head of the table. And him being Mavia's, grandson, and Roman being his cousin and from his dad, and and all that story. That's what that's what everybody had assumed. Well, things kind of didn't go exactly as planned. So there's kind of a curveball thrown with Brock Lesnar not being able to show up, Vince McMahon doing things he shouldn't be doing. And so they had to kind of do a little change there. So I think Cody was supposed to, and there's a lot of this stuff on some stuff or facts. I'm going to go through how this is and how the bloodline is going to be and how I think the WrestleMania night 1 and 2 is going to lay out and after WrestleMania. But I'm not sure how long do they expect, Roman to hold this belt? And, I don't see it, man. They don't let him appear to be a good wrestler. Okay. And again, why Vince hooked into him, and during the COVID time, 2020, no people was there and there's just TVs out in the audience. Why that happened that way, I don't know. I don't know why he's just let Roman hang on this belt. So anyway, that, the whole idea of, Rock coming back, we assumed he's going to be able to take this over and Cody wins WrestleMania. I think that was planned the whole time. Even though Brock didn't get to show up for part of it. McAfee, I think, was called in as probably before they went on, said, hey, you're going, they're going to call you. You're going to go up there and you're going to go wrestle. He just kind of went in the ring and played around and jumped back out against Omos. I mean, he ain't nobody, like, good gracious, the guy's 8 foot tall. Who's going to beat him? It was good. So everybody knows that the Royal Rumble winner is going to get a title shot. And so, then the idea begins to, come around. Well, how, are we going to have, how can Roman, have a title shot match, one night and then fight The Rock the next night? That's not going to give him time to, you don't have to fight 2 nights in a row. Now, speaking of Sting, we can relate to him again, fighting 2 nights in a row. I think him and Hogan fought 2 or 3 nights in a row. The count was too fast. Bret Hart says it's whatever. They restart the match, and Sting winds up winning the belt, and everybody comes in, lifts him up. Sting's a company guy. So, could he fought 2 nights in a row? Sure. A lot of these wrestlers don't fight the way the old guys do in those, like Sting's first real big match. He fought Flair, 45 minutes, went to a draw, Then they went up going to Starrcade, and I think Sting gets the belt off Flair there. So he could have. I didn't. You kind of don't think it would be that way. So now, as we're rolling through the time, Rock goes to the ring. We've told that story, and we know now we're setting up the idea that Cody won Mania. He won the Rumble, and he's going to get a shot. Now, Cody's going to point to Roman, makes all this big deal about it, and Seth is come in and to make a case that why he should fight him instead. It's the real championship. It's the belt his dad had or whatever, or, it's the old WCW belt. It's the old Flair belt to me. It's the belt that Rick kept a lot. The belt that Seth has now. So when Cody comes out to talk to Roman, and I don't have to go through the whole story. If you're watching this or following along with it, you know already what all's happened. So this is where it gets interesting. Cody tells Roman that he's going to take everything he's got and his belt, his family. He's going to take everything away from him, but not at WrestleMania. I remember that. And Cody also had a pinned tweet from January that there's more than one family in wrestling. Pin that. More than one family in wrestling, not at WrestleMania. Now, probably what I'm going to say and get into probably may be laughed at by some people, and that's okay. I have a different way of seeing things. Sometimes it's wrong and sometimes it's right. So I'm going to say that The Rock and Cody shake hands there in the ring. And this is where my ideas start different from everybody. Internet blows up. If you watch wrestling stuff, I know you watch JD, the new guy from New York, and he's great, man. He's the guy. I mean, he does podcasts for wrestling. He's the mark that everybody wants to see. I mean, anybody that has thousands and thousands of people watching live at one time, obviously he's got a fan base, and he's wild and he talks crazy, but that's how wrestling is too. So obviously it works for him. So this is where it's different. I think that the whole time Cody's was always going to face Roman. There was never going to be a time where Cody was not going to face Roman. It's just speculation and ideas that we assume that when Cody supposed to be giving his spot away, that The Rock forced that because he come on as part owner there, TKO, and he's $30 million worth of stocks. He's got his name, People's Champ, got that back. He's owning this stuff now, and he's just going to take Cody's spot. Well, it's kind of like to say, and after we've seen The Rock do this Instagram thing the other day, he kind of mentioned more into that Cody was just forfeiting his spot because it's the best thing for the company, and that's the story. But that's not what is really going on. He was always going to fight Roman, but Rock had to come in and intervene somehow because he knew he'd come in late, and he knew he's not going to get to fight Roman this year. They knew going in. They knew this. You got to remember, these writers have been doing this as long as I've been watching. There's some guys that's been around. Michael Hayes has been involved in wrestling 40 years. He's been around wrestling at least 40 years. He's been around the stories all over from beginning to end. You can look him up. The Freebirds is where he come from. Him and his the Gordy brothers. He was in with them. So to begin with there, Cody was always going to fight Roman. Rock had to come in and find a way to be part of this story. And the only way to do it was going to be to act like that Cody was just going to give him his spot. Cody's just going to give him his spot. And that's what we're going to do right now. And Cody kind of looks back at him, and makes whatever, the long, sad face. They shake on it, and they have that stare down. And that word there, not at WrestleMania. That's the key part to that. Now, then we know what happens at Vegas. That is part of it to set up the idea for this family thing. Because remember, the tweet I told you to remember earlier, there's more than one family in wrestling. There is. Now, and when WWE comes on, it says together down here at the bottom, and I don't know, it got my wheels to turning, and I'm a different thinker, and maybe it's not right, and maybe I'm crazy, but it's just how I see this story. It's how I see this story and how I see things that's going to happen this way. So now Cody gets his face slapped. Now, because we've seen how Rock is not really, it never ever to me, it never really felt like that he was challenging Roman. It never really felt that way. It's like like they're going to have some kind of blood oath match, or it just never felt like like they're really going to fight. It just never really seemed that way to me. It didn't. It didn't, and probably a lot of you too. You could tell there's just no. I mean, when Cody walks away and when the show's going off, The Rock steps to Roman back when Cody gave his spot up, which he really didn't. They just stare at each other. I mean, if they're going to fight and have a match, then you'd assume that these guys are going to. I mean, The Rock that we know, he would have just come in the ring and told him like it is, and I'm going to be the head of the table, and you're going to sit down the side of the table where you belong, and I'm going to be the head of the table. And they would just come in and just started beating the crap out of each other. But that's not what happened. They didn't say anything. So right then I knew the way Cody looked back, and I knew the way that smile Cody gave Rock again when he left the ring. It just seemed like, I think something that he said would have went like this. We're going to do this big. We're going to make your dad proud for what you have accomplished. This is going to be great. Hang on for this ride. We're going to have a ball. And I do think it's just the beginning. Rock keeps saying, this is the start of the story. And he told Cody in his Instagram thing again, you can go find it, F his story. Because Rock's going to make this story of a bloodline story. So after Vegas, at the end, Triple H is being interviewed. This is where Triple H gets involved. And this is where the term I used earlier, together, the term I told you to key and pin on was there's more than one family in wrestling. And remember, not at WrestleMania. Not at WrestleMania. The Rock tells the Triple H pretty much, you better get your boy. If he disrespects my family again, I'll slap a taste out of his mouth again. And I didn't read much into how a lot of people was reading much into how Rock and Roman walked, through the back there. Roman's behind Rock. The Rock's the head of the table as far as their family is concerned. We all know that already. Roman's just holding his spot at the head of the table while he's out doing movies, basically. So after all that, they have this run in, and it's pretty quick after that. Triple H comes out and he has some stuff to say. That he's running things, and Cody and Roman is going to happen, and all the stuff at Vegas is what it is. Well, in the next week, or on SmackDown or whatever, Cody comes out and he challenges The Rock. Pretty much anywhere, anytime. You slap me, you've insulted me as a man, and I'm not going to let that slide. And we get to the Elimination Chamber, and stuff goes down there. They have an interview, and Seth and Cody are already doing what I knew was going to happen. You knew it was going to happen. It kind of felt that way because the way Seth was talking and taking up for Cody behind the scenes and interviews and stuff. And then what happened at Vegas, Seth jumps out there, jumps right up in Rock's face real quick. Okay, right then. Cody and Seth are tagging against Rock and Roman. I knew it then. This is what's going to happen. And then the Elimination Chamber goes through. And that interview, Cody was going to say kind of what Rock had told him when they were in the ring together, and Cody give up his WrestleMania spot to Rock. Well, and then Rock, of course, does that IG thing and that kind of line of order. Now, SmackDown says that the tag match rules when Rock come out there and talk, that they're going to have this tag match. Now, this is a story. It's all very interesting. And that Rock and Roman are not losing, not one. That's not going to happen. So now, for sure, we have Rock and Roman against Cody and Seth, not one. Now, with Rock and Roman winning, the rules stipulated that the family could be there, no holds barred, Everything's legal. The Rock says he may get a chair and go out there and sit in the middle of the ring and beat Cody's head in with it. Right? It's all legal. Everything's it's just a free for all, basically for all the family to come out there and just beat Cody up and hold him down and finally embarrass him for the last time and do what Rock said on his IG live post was F the story, F your story. That's what he said. But if Cody and Seth win, then they will be banned from ringside. Now, in order to go back again, I keep referring back to it because I want you to follow along. There's more than one family. That's what Cody pinned, his pinned tweet that he had back in January 1st, I believe. And then to say, not at WrestleMania, and the together thing that comes up, it's they're making families. They're trying to build a family against family. Well, I mean, Dusty's kids there, Goldust, and which he's doing some mediocre wrestling over it. I don't even know, AEW or TNA or something. I hadn't seen him, and I've seen some highlights of him. I don't know, sometime back. So is he coming back? Not as Goldust. I don't think so. But Cody, and it seems like Seth is definitely on his side, and McIntyre was on his side. We've seen those promos, how McIntyre come out there between him and Seth, because Seth's like, come on, Cody, you want to fight me? And so there's a couple of guys, AJ Styles or LA Knight, these new guys, the guys that are in the chamber, AJ's not new, but, some new storylines that are building between these other guys. Randy Orton is the old school guy, are some of these guys going to, because obviously night 2, when Cody and Roman fight, it is going to be no holds barred. Anybody can come out. Anybody can do whatever. Are we going to see some people come out to defend Cody? Is that how we're going to see it? So as we're getting into that and how Rock lays all that match out, The Rock and Roman would win night 1, and the bloodline rules will be in effect for night 2. Now, Cody's going to have some help to get the title. And we do remember, as those rules were announced, Rock's going to close the show out. And if you smell what the Rock is cooking, Roman grabs his arm. This is what we was waiting on. I didn't know how they was going to do it. I didn't know they was going to do it this soon. I thought they may wait another few weeks, or they would maybe do this turn in the match or right before or something. So they're going to build this turn up because Roman grabs the Rock and he wants the Rock to acknowledge him. And if you watch, Jimmy Uso and you watch the little brother Sikoa over there, when Rock is doing his talking, and I'm sure this is all planned, okay? Now, they talk to him before they go out. You need to look disgusted at sometimes. As soon as Rock starts talking, I'm watching around him because it's all on purpose, and it helps you see the story for what it is if you've seen as much of it as I have. Roman's not interested in anything Rock has to say. Neither was Sikoa. Uso, he may have been a little. It seemed he would watch him talk a little, but Solo is definitely not. Then when he asked him about, maybe we'll let him sing the Star Spangled, but he's being funny. He didn't like that. So, and then him stopping him and making him acknowledge him, which The Rock says, my family and I acknowledge you as the tribal chief. So that is where we're going to have the idea to come to odds and the thing to build just to build it up where Rock is going to be against Roman. Now, coming into this, I kind of figured, like I said earlier, Rock's probably, going to turn on Roman at some time. I think this is going to build up to either Rock's not going to hold the belt for nothing, but this is just going to build in the head bumping between the two as they go back and forth to build up to next year's WrestleMania 41. So that way you have a good story. But between now and then, there's a couple of events still to take place. So, and we've heard rumors on other podcasts and those type things. We've heard that, some of these other wrestlers, their sons are coming back. So if Cody's going to start bringing in people at this match and that's how this is going to go, then does The Rock do that? Does Roman do that? Do they start adding to this tree? Or do they really come at odds and it really comes unglued towards the end, like Royal Rumble time next year or something, and Rock has his own family and Roman has his own, and we have like a 4-on-4 type match for winner takes all? Because I have heard on Logan Paul's podcast, Roman come on and spoke back last year sometime. He's ready for a break. He wants to get away from the business for a while. He's got some younger kids, and he don't wrestle a lot anyway, but he has to make appearances and do these things, being the champ. But he's ready to step back, and so he's going to drop the belt this year. So does Rock take off on his own bloodline and add some of these guys? I don't know. Or are they just going to let this tension build for a while, through to the end of the year? And then build into a match where next WrestleMania, it will be Roman and Rock, and they'll be for the head of the table. And we would assume that Cody would still have the belt, and he'll go against whoever they're going to build up in again. I like LA Knight, But here's a weird twist. And this is where I'll probably get some I may get some people to, laugh, and I may get some comment, and that's fine. I don't care. After The Rock gets his help, Roman could still lose. Rock says that Roman is a loser and that they build up for WrestleMania 41. So even these rules, we're going to have this free-for-all match, and Cody still finds a way to win. That's something else that you got to add these little, tacks and put them on the board until it builds the full story, until Rock's just had enough. I won the stupid tag match for you. I've been carrying you through all this. You're not ready to head of the table. We're going to settle this, me and you, because you're weak, and it's time for me to be at the head of the table. So he gives him all this help. Cody still wins. They raise his hand at WrestleMania, and it builds to that story to be where, like I just said, Rock's big ego, I've helped you do all this, and you're so stupid, and you can't do anything right, and without me, there'll be nothing. Now, I even put a little smiley face there, Lost my mind prediction. Roman keeps the belt over Cody. The bloodline gets bigger and better. Then in New York, in Madison Square Garden, Cody wins the belt there. Now what I just said, I've heard a time or two. But now we're not hearing it at all. I'm just telling you, The Rock said early, he's just not coming back to show up for a night or two. He wants to build a long story and to build up the bloodline to make them bigger and better, and to really cause a huge divide. Would it be better for what I just said, that Rock says, you dropped the belt anyway? What are you, some kind of idiot? I'm the people's champ. I had all these people come down here. We had our whole family down here, and you still blew it? Or 6 months from now, You got to keep the belt at WrestleMania. You do realize that Cody had you beat. And if it wasn't for me, with all the assistance, you would have never been able to keep the belt. Now, I'm not saying Rock's going to get the belt because Roman's not going to have the belt, but a few more months after WrestleMania in this storyline B that I've insanely drew up in my mind because I've been watching this for 40 years and I've seen a lot of crazy stuff and I'm just paying attention to exactly what they said. Just exactly. Again, tweets pinned. There's more than one family. Cody don't get the belt at WrestleMania. This gives him time then to build up a family. Seth does drop the belt at WrestleMania to McIntyre. So he's no longer a champ because Seth is tired from the match before, and that gives him a reason for him to drop his belt. Well, I just didn't have the juice. I was helping Cody trying to fight this bloodline, and we still fell short. I lost my belt. The bloodline keeps the belt again. And we all know, if you follow it closely, if you're watching this, you watch wrestling, because if you don't watch wrestling at all, you've already turned this off 30 minutes ago. Dusty got the belt for a little while at Madison Square Garden, and there is going to be a match there. Now, like I've heard from a lot of other people, is it going to be the right thing to say that Cody drops a belt on a Raw event and they don't hold that for a pay-per-view? I don't know. That's what is making me feel reluctant, because they used to do that now. Now, I remember watching, Saturday Night Wrestling, WWF, or, WCW, NWA wrestling, whenever it'd come on, like Sunday or Monday or something, it wasn't nothing for Flair may have the belt for, 3 or 4 months. And then him and Dusty show up and work 2 or 3 weeks and argue and fuss and work up a little story. And, Luger or when those guys come in, Rick may drop the belt. Or back in the day, him and Steamboat used to swap the belt out like every other week. It was nothing. Now they've held these belt drops to only pay-per-view, and that's because it's for money. They're trying to make money. I understand. So is any of that possible? Let me go through this again. I know you are laughing. Somebody's typing right now. I can't believe this stupid idiot is even. Why is he talking about wrestling? Does he even know what he's talking about? I'm just saying. Cody said there's more than one family in wrestling, and he said not at WrestleMania. So him not getting the belt at WrestleMania, that's what he said. They had to bring Rock in. They still have to have the match with Cody and Roman because Cody won the Rumble. And that was been planned out. And it was planned out before Rock showed his face up. It's not like he showed up the day before and, let's get the cards out here. And the guy that writes his stories for him is great. He's well known for writing great stories. This has been something in the works for a long time. Okay. So again, we think that scenario one, it may be the more plausible, and it's probably the more popular opinion. Rock and Roman win the tag match. Rock probably pins Cody, hits a rock bottom on him. Seth tries to come in and help. Roman sneaks in from outside the ring where he's been hit, and he runs back in to stop Roman from breaking up. 1, 2, 3. Rock and Roman win the tag match. They're beefed up. They're pumped up. This is building their characters of them being together and Roman being the head of the table. And Rock then it starts into, well, I won the match. I did pin this guy that you're going to fight, tomorrow night. And because of me, we get these bloodline rules. So now all our goons get to be around the ring. So then they're there, and somehow Cody fights through it. Roman drops the belt on night 2. Brock's mad. Roman, you're an idiot. How are you the head of the table? You need me to do this. I set all this up. I won the tag match. We got the rules to bend the rules so you could keep the belt, and you blew it. So are they going to do that? That seems like a fast burn to me. Like by, sometime later on in the year, like October pay-per-views and stuff or whatever they got coming, SummerSlams or, Backlash and that kind of stuff going on. Or scenario 2. Is it by accident that Rock can't close his thumb when he holds the finger up, And that may be on purpose too, to make people question it. You just don't know. So scenario 2 is, this is the crazy one. Rock and Roman, they still win the match. Either scenario here, I have them winning it. And then the next night, with all the help, Roman keeps the belt, as always. And it's just like Seth said, Rollins said that, we just can't get rid of this bloodline, and we're just not going to be able to ever be able to keep them back. Now they're going to get bigger and better. Roman keeps the belt. They won the tag match. I'm sorry I didn't help in that any better. So he's still the champ. Now they're going to build the family bigger. These new guys are going to start coming into the family and building this bloodline. And they're going to build that bloodline over time through the year, all the way to after Christmas. And then somewhere in the middle, somehow, depends on how much Rock's going to be around. Well, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be champ still. You wouldn't have beaten Hogan's record if it wasn't for me coming back, me helping you win the tag match, so we could have the rules, so that we could come down and interfere, because, you've always needed help. You've never really been able to win a match by yourself. Thanks to good old me, The Rock, Uncle Dwayne. And that's where the divide begins. That seems like more of a long-term type story where they can really build something and then they split. And somewhere at some time, Roman and Rock have to split. And there's going to be 2 different bloodlines. There's just not at WrestleMania. And there's more than one family in wrestling. Rock and Roman will begin their feud after the first of the year or something. So I laid it out there for you. We went back through the story, and you know what? Ain't it weird that Sting has just retired right here at this moment? Did Sting help Cody Rhodes when Taz and his group of guys were over in AEW or whatever? Didn't Sting come out there and stop that? Don't Cody speak really highly of Sting? Wasn't it not WrestleMania? Was it 31? Was it Triple H and Sting? Did that, or Triple H, Sting and Seth Rollins, right? Was that 31? So Seth and Sting have history, and Sting said he respected Seth, thought he's a good wrestler. And he does good promos. He's wild in his dressing, but that's his character. So does the undrafted free agent that's always seemed like the real people's champ, that stays in the back and stays quiet and sold out more stadiums by not even wrestling in a match, but just to show up and stand in a rafter and drop in on a zip cord, won more people over in that Attitude Era when Stone Cold was taking over on the other side of the fence. People they couldn't help but mash the previous channel to go back over to TBS, see what Sting's doing. Now, we all love Stone Cold, and he won the WWE round 2. Hogan won it to begin with. But when Tyson come out and set all that up with Stone Cold, we know all the story. So does the guy with the black and white face paint the neutralizer, the equalizer, the guy that's always just been the fan favorite. And he never could pin a story on Sting because he wouldn't say. And he always wanted to fight Undertaker. Tried twice, and Vince shut it down. Thought they were a little too older in their age and they wouldn't have a good match. And it would have been huge. We're talking about loyal, the last guy to leave WCW, really. Loyal WCW guy against the most loyal WWF guy in Undertaker. There's more than just one family in wrestling. In January, Cody posted that. Man, what are you saying? You're saying Sting is going to show up and help Cody win the belt? Not to. I don't know. I'm just looking at what he's saying. But maybe he does come back to help and it don't work. Because he said he's going to take everything from him. Everything. Family, all of it. Belt included. So does Sting show up to help at WrestleMania? Somebody's got to come out and help. Because they're going to have these bloodline rules for night two. Because Cody, Rock and Roman are winning night one. Okay, I don't see any. There could be another story, I guess, if you wanted Rock and Roman to lose the match and then it's just straight up them two fighting. But that's not, I don't know, that don't seem fun. There's nothing really more to talk about. So Sting comes back and tries to help Roman, tries to help Cody defeat Roman. Does Triple H come out? I mean, he was running his mouth there for a little while. Does he come out in a, bow down the King t-shirt and, a pair of jump pants or a DX shirt? Him and Road Dogg? Huh? Billy Gunn? Billy Gunn's still around. Okay. All those guys are AEW guys. Big Show. And Cody's family line runs with more current wrestlers than the Rock's. Rock's talking about bloodline family. All those people are old and dead mostly. Now their kids are not. And there's a lot of those Samoan guys. And there's some of them wrestling. So do we see some new faces coming from Samoan people, some of his real family, cousins, nephews. And Cody brings in his family. There's more than one family in wrestling. There's not just one family. That's what he pinned on his tweet in January. So does he bring in some of these guys? So he don't win the belt. And they start building this family thing to where the bloodline and Cody's family, it's going to be a Hatfields and McCoy's thing. And then right at the end, before it explodes, and Cody does get the belt at Madison Square Garden, after that falls apart, can't believe you lost the belt, Roman. We've had all this set up for the whole time. And what? Cody brings in some old has-beens to come in here and help him. Sting. Triple H out there, maybe all he could probably do, I guess, hit a guy in the head with a sledgehammer or talk some junk. I don't think he can wrestle in the ring. He did have open heart surgery. He can't take a fall. He could probably be, hit, pulled punches. Billy Gunn could. And if Sting's involved somehow, because Vince is gone now, and Vince was the problem with Sting not getting in, and he just retired. Now I don't know. I'm just paying attention to everything. Sting retired at this time. And there's a story between him and Cody. There's a huge story. Crockett and Dusty were the ones. Crockett's money was running the wrestling, and Dusty was doing all the story stuff. When Sting come in 87, 88, Dusty was the one that really pushed Sting. He believed, he said, hey, this guy's a character, man. Ultimate Warrior broke off from him. They were tag match. They were tag guys first. When he moved out to California, Venice Beach, he's from Nebraska, Steve is Sting. I'm just saying there's history between Cody and Sting. And Sting and Triple H, I think I don't know what their relationship is. But Sting's always been that guy, that neutralizer guy that would come in. Now, he did wind up picking NWO back in the day in that story, but, he broke out of that and went Wolfpack with Nash and Scott. I ain't heard nobody else say this. So who's going to be there's going to be these wide open rules. There's no way that just Sokoa and Jimmy and them run down there and help Roman win the belt, and Rock comes down and nobody comes out for Cody. And we just hadn't seen a lot of people. We've heard Drew speak about it to Cody. Hey, go finish your story. We're with you, and let me fight Seth. Well, that's what happened. Not at WrestleMania, Cody said, but I'm going to take everything from you. Rock says we're in this for the long haul. This is not a short run. We're going to make this a long story. Now, y'all can laugh. Go ahead. That's okay. I've been wearing glasses since the 80s. So if you think you're going to hurt my feelings or make me feel bad and say, that's crazy, why would you think Sting? And that may be insane to think that. And Sting don't show up. The other side of me, because there's always another side that thinks, well, there's just Sting was on the Legends Icon payroll with Vince to make appearances, some with the companies, in the Hall of Fame with WWE, of course. But it feels like there's never really been a connection between him and Vince. But Vince ain't there no more. It's Triple H and Michael Hayes and Sting and Hayes and all them, those old cats, man, from NWA, WCW days. Those guys all know each other. And I think, from what I know, everybody likes Sting. Nobody don't like him. So somebody's going to show up. Cody's just not going to go out there and lose the. If he's going to win the belt, somebody's got to run there and help him. And the way Triple H, his health, he ain't going to come down there in a pair of tights, with Triple H on him, and come down there with his taped up fist and his water and blow water out, and he's going to come out and fight with Cody to fight The Rock. And Rock is in great shape, but he's in ring shape. And he knows what it takes. They all do. It's a lot of running and having cardio. And Sting is just wrestled. Now, can you go like you used to? Of course not. Your knees hurt, your back hurts, your neck hurts, your elbows hurt. There's just something to think about. Now, I've been long enough. Let me get off here and we'll stop this. Monday Night Raw be coming on here in just a little bit. So we'll see how more of that story goes. And y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. And if you like this stuff, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I may like to do this, every Monday, and before Raw comes on, I'll give my uptake from the previous Raw and SmackDown show and kind of put it together. But this is the first one, and it's the crazy, crazy Matt idea that Cody don't win the belt at WrestleMania. That's not as crazy as thinking that Sting's going to come help him win the belt. I know that is crazy, ain't it? That's fine. We all got ideas, and I'm just trying to pay attention to all the small stuff. There's more than just one family in wrestling. I'm going to take everything from you, just not at WrestleMania. I may not get the belt at WrestleMania. Madison Square Garden. Maybe Sting shows up there. Is Sting done? Did Cody call in a favor? And the man with the black and white face paint streams down from the ceiling of WrestleMania 40, the biggest WrestleMania that you've ever seen. That's what The Rock said. So if it's going to be the biggest WrestleMania ever seen, they're going to have to bring out some guys. We want to see Hogan's out. We want to see Stallone out there from Philadelphia, from Rocky movies. I mean, you know, it's WrestleMania. Let's see what goes on. So y'all enjoy Raw tonight, and we'll get some more to the story. And I might come back and do these. They do them. They do a Friday before SmackDown if something crazy happens tonight, you know, so we'll see. So y'all enjoy the rest of the evening. Like the video and please comment, and you can say, Matt, you are crazy. Cody is definitely getting the belt, and Cody and Seth are even going to beat Rock and Roman in the tag match, so it's a clean match. And something weird still going to happen, you know. And Cody's going to win it. Maybe so. We'll see. Locker Room Sports Special Edition. Headed to the road to WrestleMania. Enjoy Monday Night Raw. See you guys.